First, may I embarrass you? Right next to me is the Tech Women 100 Award. She's a judge for Women in Finance UK, judge for the Great British Business Women's Award, 4 times listed on the Women in FinTech Power List. Oof. Are you even doing anything with your life? I mean,
I'm not, apparently not.
This is amazing. Fantastic. I mean, you've been working at Klarna, Bud, Starling Bank, MasterCard, and currently, what are you working on?
So I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Bloom Money.
Bloom Money.
We are based in the UK, and we are building to allow diaspora communities to build generational wealth. So think about the people who drive our buses, who clean our offices, the people who are the backbone of our economy. We are building for them to create generational wealth.
That's incredible. Now you have 2 great panelists that are going to join you in a second.
I do.
This is going to be your seat. This will be your stage. The audience is ready. We have microphones if you want to take questions from them, as well as the app. And so with that, I'll leave the stage to you.
Amazing. Thank you. All right. Woo, well, that was really embarrassing. So excited to be here. I feel like Madonna with this mic. I'm not going to dance for you, though. I'm super, super excited to welcome to the stage, I feel like Oprah now, Triin Hertmann is the co-founder and COO of Grünfin. She has more than, oh, come on, Triin. Woo! Welcome, Triin! Woo! Triin is the co-founder and COO of Grünfin. She has more than 20 years of experience in technology and fintech. Her early career in private equity and corporate finance led her to join Skype's finance team in 2005. She was the second employee at the fintech company formerly known as TransferWise, now known as Wise, in 2011, and she helped set up the startup's payment operations and finance processes, and later was in charge of the company's global offices and people operations. She is also an active angel investor with a keen focus on impact startups and female founders. Welcome, Triin. Woo! Our second guest is Martin Sokk. Woo! Yeah! One thing about us is we're not going to be boring. So, Martin is the co-founder and CEO at Lightyear, a new investment platform for Europe. He's a lifelong product builder in the fintech world. Martin co-founded Lightyear with Michael Amar?
Yeah.
Yes. After many years at Wise, building the product, people, and operations teams as the company scaled globally. So these two are already best friends. I'm just here to watch, really. So today we're talking about financial literacy and financial inclusion. A good place to start would be, what exactly is financial inclusion? It's a pretty hot topic, a hot word that we like to use, increasingly so. But to give you an official definition from the World Bank defines financial inclusion to mean that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs. Transactions, payments, savings, credit, and insurance delivered in a responsible and sustainable way. But financial inclusion can mean so many things for so many different people. Financial inclusion can be applied to so many groups who are excluded. So it could refer to immigrants who we're serving at Bloom, or newcomers to a country who struggle to access basic financial services. It can refer to women who are well documented to be paid less and experience a wealth and pension gap. It can also refer to the elderly or disabled for whom digital solutions are not accessible, and closing traditional bank branches can be extremely frustrating. And actually, quite sadly, it can also refer to young people who increasingly need to make their money do more for them as the cost of living increases, wages stagnate, and the creation of generational wealth becomes less attainable because we keep buying avocado toast. So, Triin, to start, in your day-to-day, what does financial inclusion mean to you, both personally and in your capacity at Grünfin?
Yeah, you had such a long definition of that. It's really hard to add something. So I would just add that financial inclusion, in addition to all these tangible things you were saying, it's also about personal freedom and personal feeling of safeness. So I would definitely think that people should always think about how the financial safety net, what is it about? So I like this quote from Nicholas Taleb that said that the three most addictive things in life are heroin, carbs, and monthly salary. So if everybody should think about how they can be less dependent on their monthly salary and work towards that freedom and safeness that is created about financial level of safety. So that's maybe.
I can't speak for the heroin, but carbs and my monthly salary are very addictive. I can attest to that. And for you, Martin, what does financial inclusion mean to you personally and in your capacity at Lightyear?
Can I spin the question around? So I can say that, how are we today? And I think today in the investment world, we are nowhere close to the financial inclusion. And why is that? If I'm looking around here, I actually know quite many people who are not investing, who doesn't have ongoing long-term investments in the future. A lot of these people actually have said that I know that I should invest in the future, but I'm not doing it. So now you're going to go into the question why are you not doing it? And what we see right now is that it's this weird environment where if you have lots of money, so if you have $1 million, exactly, it's going to be super cheap to invest, but it's also a lot of people want to help you to invest. A lot of people go around you, they want to help you in many different ways, and it gets cheaper and cheaper. If you have $1,000, it's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly hard to get the understanding how should you do it. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it feels that it's unequal, unequal in a way that if you have net worth and if you have some knowledge, then you're included. If you don't, then you're not included. And that's really weird place to be. So for me, financial inclusion, and I'm coming from the technology side, something what we built with Triin in Wise quite a lot, how to use technology to equalize the playing field. I think everybody should have an access to the global markets. Everybody should have access to the good kind of fee structures, but also the knowledge, how do you make an investment. So if you have that, then you can have a financial inclusion. If you don't have that, then we are not there.
So to start, you're saying we need to actually open up the access and the infrastructure to even be on board for this investment journey or financial inclusion journey.
So I think there's two things. One is, as you, a person, do you have access to the global markets? Can you do that in a reasonable fee structures? Do you have access to the instruments and products and all that stuff? And the second thing is that, do you know what to do? Do you know, if you have all that stuff, and today in many places you can have that, but it's kind of foreign language for you. It's how do you actually include yourself into it? Mm-hmm. So I think, I'm starting to solve the problem from the infrastructure side, because I can teach you to do the things, but if you don't have an access to these worlds, then it's hard for you to do. So what I'm building is mostly on a kind of access and then helping people to make better decisions as well.
I like that. First, access. Second, literacy, education.
Can I add that?
Yes.
So when we asked our customers, why don't they invest? Because everybody knows that saving is good, investing is good, but why don't you do that? So first answer was, I don't have the time. Second was that I don't have money enough. And third is, I don't have knowledge to select right instruments and everything. So I would challenge all of them, because this is no reason to not do that. And if you would have, let's say you have salary of 2,000 euros per month, what could you do with 2,000 euros that you cannot do with 1,950? If you would put that 50 euros away, or if you would put the 100 euros a month away, in 4 years, you would have a down payment of your flat or a car. So, but it doesn't influence your monthly life at all, basically.
Yeah. That's a very interesting thought, actually, which I, again, need to stop eating avocado toast so that I can actually get a mortgage. One of the misconceptions that I personally feel we have when we talk about financial inclusion is this idea that financial inclusion is an over there problem. Over there meaning emerging markets, meaning sub-Saharan Africa, meaning Southeast Asia, meaning Latin America. And I challenge this personally because I say, actually, in our own back gardens, we have a lot of people who are not financially included. Just to give you a stat, in the UK, where I live, there are 1 million adults that do not have a bank account, right? So we obviously have a problem in our own backyards. Martin, who at Lightyear are you building for? Who are you financially including?
So there are a lot of people with different kind of goals, ambitions, risk tolerances, and so on. So our goal is to build a platform that whoever you are, you can have an access to the products what you want to do. So, and that's quite a bit different. Like some people, so maybe a step back. Like I believe that everybody should invest. And like, I don't think everybody should trade. Like, you shouldn't go buy and sell Teslas. Like, don't do that. Or like, maybe do. I don't know. Don't take my advice.
This is not investment advice, by the way.
But everybody should have a long-term view in like growing their wealth. And like, the best way to often grow wealth is continuously over time, build it up, invest broadly, diversify, be a part of global economy. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And like, I'm pretty sure Triin agrees with me. Triin's building a lot of that same stuff. So what we are focusing on is, we have these kind of people, but we have other people. Like some people want to live in a dividend world. Like I want to get the monthly give back from the markets. Like I'm investing there, but like it's really nice that every month I'm getting something back, And then some people want to do the first thing, but they also are really big believers of electric cars. So can they do that? So now like you can start looking, there's like the diversity is huge when people are investing. So if you're like going it back, like how do you build a product for everybody? And like I think that's the kind of the outcome. If you have really good infrastructure and technology, then you're able to build the good products out there. And I think like also the products come into like different flavors. So some products are like for sophisticated people who know what they're doing. Some people want to just invest casually over time. But even the people in the casually over time have a different kind of views. So for example, I see right now like women are investing quite a bit less. And I've been trying to get my head around like, why is that? And like, I think it comes back to the like rather simple problem. And problem is that like, it's often guys' world. Like you don't have an exposure to like role models and like the kind of normal, somebody who normalizes investing or like growing your money. And like every time I see somebody who have had like a family or father on investing, and they are often that, it's insane that I grow like 18 years and then I discovered none of my girlfriends are investing. But like it shows the kind of environment. So in that sense, often the product is, it's simple to say that you build the product, but there's everything like the nuances around that, like how these people discover them, how they start using them, how they feel that they're safe, trusted, and they can understand what they're doing, and they're also inspired by it. So
inspirational.
Yeah.
I like that. On that note, though, you spoke about kind of being into electric vehicles, for example, or into a certain type of investment, like wanting a dividend. Triin, it strikes me that people choose Grünfin very intentionally. So investing with Grünfin, I imagine, is less of an accident because you are so focused on your customers' values. So I wonder if you could share with us, what are those values that people are currently investing in?
So what we basically investing differently than Martin, for example, that we definitely have a lot in common, but where we looked at the problem of investing was that it needs to be very simple, very easy to use, and you can basically set it up in 5 to 7 minutes, set up your standing order monthly, and it's done. So the product has to be super simple. So you don't have to spend any time or knowledge or anything. That but where we want to create really value add is that you can be sure that you're doing the right thing. So we are basically scanning like all the funds in the world, 300,000 funds, and we shortlist them based on 10 criteria that makes them most impactful, the cheapest, the most inclusive funds in the world. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to know how we come to that conclusion, because nobody else, not many people have the capacity to analyze them. So where we are looking at, so when you come to Grünfin, like you said, you just know that you're doing the right thing. You're putting your money, your vote, your assets where they make the most good. So I see Grünfin product more of a lifestyle choice. So if you're already a sustainable mindset person, you are green-minded, you look into choices in your life based on that mindset. So what is not well known is with your savings, with your investments, your carbon footprint impact is 20-25 times more than any other lifestyle choice combined.
Wow.
So if you want to live a sustainable lifestyle, this is where would be your first thing to do, actually, to put your money, your vote into place where it actually makes good. So that's how we look at it.
So not using plastic straws is a good start, perhaps, but keep going.
we should all do that too. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do the other things.
Of course.
But it has a massive impact.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, specifically, we have been talking a lot today about impact from a climate perspective, but what kind of specific values? Like, is it all people that are looking for like a sustainable fund, a green fund? What do you see across the board at Grünfin? Or is it also diversity, which we've talked a lot about today?
Yes, we have 3 main topics where we scan the best funds. So one is climate change, one is health, and one is equal opportunities. So you can choose all of them, or you can choose one of them, which is most close to your heart, and start investing.
I'm just at the center of that Venn diagram of all 3. I like that. So the last thing, I want to leave some time for questions. The last thing I want to talk about is power. Money is power. My father has said this to me since I was tiny. And money is the difference for some of us between a pint of milk or a loaf of bread. Money is the freedom to take risks and start a new business. Money can also fund the businesses of the future, like we've just been speaking about in the previous panel. But I want to look at this from 2 perspectives, both from the micro and the macro. So let's start with the micro. Martin, how is money power on a micro level?
So I think money has this really cool feature. Like, for example,
cool feature.
It's able to slave you. Like we discussed, like the monthly salaries. It's pretty scary if you don't have money before the next monthly salary comes in. So now there's a question that how do you get into the position where you don't have that fear? How do you get a little bit of freedom of that? And I think like when I'm looking into the long run future, then I don't challenge me, but I don't believe countries are able to support people properly. So I think people need to grow their own freedom, wealth.
This worries me. I'm American. You're Estonian, and that really worries me. If you're sitting in Estonia saying that, but please continue.
But that's the thing. I think I don't think in a way that people should grow a lot of money and be super rich or whatnot. It's more about like how do you get into the position where you have later in the life you have a little bit more freedom, that you don't need to go crazy, that you have some support, you can maybe focus on the things what you want to do more and so on. But like how to get there, it's not that you're gonna grow in 50 and now you're gonna be start like savings. Like the saving, investing and all that stuff starts at the beginning, like when you are young person, maybe even their parents start like growing the money for you. But like the best way to do that is these are magical things like compound interest. Like you put money in and it grows, and you put a little bit more in over time, and you diversify that, and you're growing effectively together. You're saving and you're growing together with the global economy. So I think like everybody should have this fund going on, that they have a little bit more freedom later in the day. Or maybe if you want to go to school or you have some emergency, then you have an opportunity to do something. So I think that's an important thing. And like now going back, like how do you get there? I think technology is amazing for that. Like you can go to Grünfin and click one button effectively, and it happens. You can come to us. Like we have a little bit different kind of approach to this, but like it happens. But if you go to, I think like banks are effectively a scam. So if you go to the bank, they try to sell you so many different kind of things and take a fees and whatnot, and like you're effectively funding their lifestyle. So you should fund your lifestyle, not their lifestyle. So
I like that.
So that's my
Fund
thinking.
yourself, not the bank.
Yeah, let's use technology over time to save fees and like build your own wealth instead of like building the wealth for other people.
I love that. I really like that. I am still nervous as an American about what this means for me. But Triin, on a macro level, so let's talk about money being powerful on a macro level. I think this dovetails very nicely with your mission at Grünfin. How is money power when we join together for collective action?
So I would start from micro level because it's actually about everybody. So why me and Karin and Alvar started Grünfin? So we had long discussions on, okay, we are doing well. We have knowledge, we have experience, we have done things, but we still like earning everything to ourselves, or like not making a bigger impact. So what is the place where we can actually give access to people or give the tools to people that will make so much more difference than our own actions as private individuals? So that's why we started Grünfin, because this was where our knowledge was. And we started off with like, okay, we are investing in the top sustainable funds. We're picking the best instruments, but can we do something extra, even on top of that? So with our amazing portfolio manager, Alejandro, we initiated us to join Share Action, which is a non-profit in UK that combines like big funds, big investors all together and helps them to influence big corporates. So we don't really only invest in the big corporates that are taking sustainable goals, but we also influence them to make even better decisions, even greener, even more sustainable decisions. So that's like, if you think about, that started from a couple of individuals, but now let's say we combine all of that power, and by that, let's say Unilever, for example, is starting to produce more healthier food that is used by 3 billion people every day. So I just wanted to make this example how I like it. It's a domino effect, that a small stone can push a bigger and bigger and bigger stones. And yeah, that's maybe something.
I read, it was a while back, there was a hedge fund called Engine Number 10, I believe. They're a hedge fund based in New York, and they basically bought up enough shares in ExxonMobil to get a board seat. And so now they're there as an activist hedge fund to basically say, sort yourself out. This is 2022, but I love the idea that we don't need to be a hedge fund. We can be individuals that can affect change altogether. So that's great. I'm going to leave some time for questions. We don't bite. Anyone have any questions? Promise I don't bite.
Good.
No? Okay. Wow, we did a really good job. Good on us.
Did you
Oh, wait,
have a
we've
question?
got
Did you have a question? It's on your app. Do you want to ask it in a microphone?
Oh.
No? Let me find it for you on the app, and I'll ask instead for you. Give me a second. Okay, actually, do you want me to do this? I'll give you the questions that came in online.
Oh,
Feel
wow.
free to pick any of those.
Oh, I feel so popular. We've got questions. Yes. Okay. From Hannah. Martin mentioned women often not being raised in an investment mindset. What is the role of tech and tech companies to help get everyone there? And how can a startup influence wider society?
Like, let me put my capitalist hat on. If you look
It's
at
a great hat. Expensive hat.
It is. If you look at the population, you see that half of them are male and half of them are female. It's
What?
crazy. And
Breaking.
Breaking.
we are not building products for that one half. And like, there's a lot of missed opportunities, like lack of the better word. But like, coming back to what I can see right now is that I've been arguing with some people that do male and female apps products should be different, and I don't think that's true actually. Like I think it should be a product that works for everybody. But that said, like sometimes you need to kind of push across the various boundaries to get various different groups of people excited. And like there's loads of good examples from the influencer side where people are creating this kind of trusted, safe network where you can learn about things and starting slowly somewhere. There's actually a couple of investment apps where they have, I think, 80% of customers are female. And like the main reason for that is that they're working with the influencers, they're working with the kind of communication, they're working in events and everything, just introducing it in a way what's kind of normal for this group of people. So I'm not saying that it's only male-female situation, but there's actually a lot of other groups as well. Like if you are a person who comes from like poor background, like you have never had money, like how do you ease into that? There's like racial groups what are somehow excluded. So I think a lot of that is coming into creating the environment, creating the kind of support network, explaining the things in a kind of normal way, and this is the way you create the included environment.
I'm going to kind of mush together, Sigrid and Tess both ask questions kind of around extra efforts to include more women into investing. But also, I quite like the way that, so Sigrid asked, do you make extra efforts to include more women, even though it might be more expensive? And Tess asked, we know that people should invest, but it doesn't interest them. So how can we teach them what to do? What can you do to make it not feel like a subject at school you just can't wait to drop, which was calculus for me. So maybe to you, Triin, how do you think about if women are perhaps not investing as much, but just let's say anyone, not just women, anyone that finds it daunting, how do you make it less daunting?
I would definitely start from the education. So the children have to already take money and investing as a normal thing in life.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have to necessarily be some specific class or course, but it can be combined in everything, in mathematics, in science, in whatever, like everyday life. And of course, parents have to make sure that is talked about at home.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. But in general, if we talk about, I'm really into empowering women any way I can by starting from being the role model in some ways. But 80% or over 80% of household decisions have done by women. So they're actually really good with money. They're just not aware that they're doing it, really. When females invest, they take less risk, but in long term, they tend to be more successful. They tend to earn more money because they take less risk, but they are very sustainable and very stable in what they do, in their strategies. And I think all that actually combines together, like me as doing like fintech. Women are more loyal, more, in a way, more loyal customers to fintechs, actually. They are underserved a little bit still, but if they come, they stay, they earn you more money for entrepreneurs, actually. And that's, I think all these things, they need to be a little bit more acknowledged.
Well, you've just seen the cost per click for women just skyrocket off the back of that. But thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure. Thank you, Triin and Martin, for joining us. And just shameless plug, we'll be speaking about pensions tomorrow. So retirement, come and join us tomorrow morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here you go. Thank you so much.